Hey, hello again. Hello, welcome to February. Um, Today we're going to update you on what's going on in the market. This one's specifically going to be for Discovery Hills. Hopefully most of you already seen me, know me, since we do a lot of transactions in both 92069, 92078 zip code in San Marcos. And we've been working in this area, guys, since 2005 probably. It's been a long time. Regardless of that, I'm just going to flash my information here, so feel free to write it down. What are we going to talk about? So we always start with a macro picture, and then I try to kind of mellow things down and focus on the specific community I'm covering in the video. In this case, we're going to be talking about Discovery Hills, Discovery Meadows, and whatever is surrounding that's gaining my information. So ultimately what we got is we have newsletters out, so you guys should be getting this. And as you can see here, my biggest thing is, like I said, optimal outcome without the typical stress and inconvenience. We are again bringing back something we've been using for probably 5-6 years now, our N72 program, as I showed it here, as you can see right here, right? You can go get some information there. But ultimately, hopefully this will go away. So it's all about, the program is all about obviously giving you leverage, because the way we do things is totally not the way traditional agents do things. The way it's usually done, if you've sold a house before, you know listing is taken, many promises are usually given, and you go in the multiple listing service, and then other agents show your properties, and usually it happens when it is convenient for the buyer. And it can happen every other day, maybe not at all, maybe, so it's all sporadic. Very inconvenient for you because you feel like you're in a fishbowl, and it really doesn't in any way serve you. And the reason it doesn't serve you, because the buyers, when they come in with the agent, there's nobody else there. And there's no emotional response. When we focus on selling, we focus primarily on, let me bring myself back in. We primarily focus on trying to create an environment, I should say a theater, where buyers can compete against other buyers, right? You want that. You want competition. The reason you want competition is because everyone, especially when you're buying as a buyer, you want something that everyone else wants. You want something that you can't have, right? And you want to feel somehow special to be able to have access to it, right? So we use those three components to create this social proof, right? And the shortest way to explain this, if you've seen an empty restaurant, in a restaurant with a line outside, people waiting to come in, most chances people will feel much more comfortable if they've never been into either restaurant going into one where there's more people, right? Social validation, we need that as human beings. So we combine the power of competition between the buyers, social validation, right? And then we create urgency on top of that as well, so buyers can make offers at the same time. So instead of, like, typically where buyers basically can see the property and they want, we allow buyers to discover the property first as we do the marketing and promotion. And we make sure that only the buyers that can afford the property, because we vet the buyers before, are funneled into the property on the same time, same day. We want to create this particular environment where buyers understand the situation. So this is really the key. Like I said, it's in the details. I'm not going to go into it. There's a certain pricing structure, the way you want to do it, because the ultimate goal of all this is to be able to get you the optimal result, meaning the highest possible price, right? The best possible terms, because when the buyers bid against each other, there's only one winner, right? And that's going to be the seller. So that's what we do. So be that as it may, like I said, we have this out. I made some notes here. I'm going to cover an update for the market itself, but let me start with this. In any situation, in any kind of market, everything is based on interest rates, right? As you know, we're no longer in 2.5%, 3% range. We haven't been there for probably almost a year and a half or so. Right now, the rates are floating, as you can see, close to 6.9%. Even though the federal government, or not the federal government, I apologize, the Federal Reserve, that has nothing to do with the federal government, has lower rates by 1%. This happened right about here, okay? Right about this September, end of September. Initially, the rates dropped somewhat. They went down to 6, but then almost immediately after that, they started to go up and up. So they went up slightly over 7. Now they're slightly under 7. But why is this happening? Like I said, I don't have a perfect crystal ball. I have been doing this for 23 years now. So I have substantial, obviously, feel and intuition about the market. But the take is basically it's about inflation. The inflation's not gone. The inflation is not abated. It has basically been put in a quieter place. Yes, maybe the inflation is slower right now, right? And I can argue that they are gaming the system, and they're kind of working the numbers to show that inflation is less than it really is, because inflation is higher and continue to go up. But all in all, inflation is there, right? If they lower the rates, when you lower the rates, all it's going to do is increase the activity, business activity, and in fact, what it's going to do is increase pressure on prices, meaning prices are going to continue moving up because rates have come down. You have more buyers that can buy, right? Makes sense. And everybody starts jumping in, and the price is going to drive up. So this is not something that they're going to do. I have no idea how this is going to get resolved. The good thing I can tell you that the market is becoming unaffordable for many, because many people, when they're buying a house for, let's say, 1.2, 1.3, which is more or less an average price nowadays for the area, the mortgage payment 20-25% down is $7,000 plus. Just think of it, $7,000. That's a tremendous amount of money to pay for a house. In some cases, they can rent a house maybe for $4,500 to $5,000, right? So it's definitely a lifestyle decision. So you have to kind of consider the whole thing. So the only thing that can slowing this whole thing down right now, number one, listings are up. We have about close to 30% more listings on the market now. And the second factor is lack of affordability. Those two factors are kind of curbing the market, keeping the prices down, right? That's all it is. So, but the market itself is good. Like I said, it's still a seller's market. And the way our system, the N72, allows you to really take leverage, control the market, and really push the price to its optimal price, right? To the highest you can. So if you are going to be selling, you have somebody else who wants to sell, and they want to let me pop it back up, and they really want to do it in a way that ends up they get the best price. And the best part about it, there's no signs, there's no open houses, no multiple days of showings, no nosy neighbors, right? It's all kind of exactly how it's stated. And like I said, when I say up to 15% more, we've had cases where we got 30% more, we got 18% more, 20%. So, it's kind of a up. Our average is still right around 12%, which is, the past 4 years, which is still incredible, right? And most people, like I said, they will leave money on the table. I'm not sure why that is the situation, but it is. Like I sometimes they have a friend in a business, somebody got referred somebody to them. Like, if you're going to do it, you might as well have a conversation with me, right? I do a lot of work here, business here, so you might as well set up a time. I think it will benefit you greatly. So from this point, I want to go ahead and jump and take a look at the market overall, so you can kind of see what's going on in the neighborhood, right? Let me see if I can make it a little bigger for you. Okay. So let me go ahead and pick out the properties I already picked out. So let's talk about the properties. Right now, there's no listings. Everything's pending, but listings are coming up. I want you to know the wave is coming. If you know where Santa Fe Hills is, if you know Mission Circle is, certain areas have more listings, period, right? Even to Solar Range. Listings are up. Like I said, it's about 30 to 32% roughly. And homes are staying longer in the market. People who are trying to sell for too high are getting beaten down. Look, the whole idea of how I do things is I'm trying to avoid, because time in the market or days in the market is really detrimental to your value. It affects perceived value. So the longer you stay in the market, the less becomes its perceived value, right? So you want to be able to have the home in the market short enough to get market exposure, right? absorption, and then you want to let only the best buyers come in at the same time so you can fetch the best possible price in the market. That's ideal. That's exactly what we try to do for you. So let me jump back in here. I think you want to see this. Let's try it this way. All right, so let's talk about it. So trail side, right? Pending. 27 days in the market. It's a 4.3. Actually, I think it's 4.2.5. It's a 2,800 square feet. Built in 2000. And they had it on the market originally at 1 million, 1.5, more or less. And it looks like they dropped the price down to 25,000, 1,475,000. It is currently in escrow. It was on the market for 27 days. Just so you get an idea what it is, picture-wise, this is the house. That was a foreclosure. It was on the market probably for a good 120 days before somebody bought it. And as you can see, they made some changes, right? You see this added fireplace. The kitchen was redone. You can see the flat, what's considered European style fronts. I guess natural wood is in now. That's the new trend. The grays and the white shaker is not as popular. As you can see, quartz is on. They got a waterfall situation. So they did a nice job. It's not a full remodel, but they've done enough. What I call provided enough eye candy for somebody to buy it, right? Not too bad, right? Nice, clean. They cleaned up, they painted, did what they needed to do to sell it. So let's go back here. So this is a trail side. So we'll see what this closes at. My guess would be 1,450,000, maybe slightly less. But like I said, keep this video and come back next month, and we'll see. Next one's 984 Mendocino. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single story, 1,350 square feet. Now this one is on the market for $1,099,000. It was on the market for 20 days, and this one, if you follow my other videos, was on the market for about 2 months, and I think I want to say it sold for $899 or $859. I can go back and look if you want to put in a comment. But somebody bought this. They basically went through and updated the place. As you can see, the kitchen, right, has been done. Feature wall and a fireplace. They painted it. It looks like they put some kind of flooring, probably vinyl planks, I'm assuming. And this is a very popular place. It's a smaller size house, but as you can see, it has new cabinets. So anyway, it's in good condition, move-in condition. It looks like it's an escrow now for $1 million, probably close to that, I'm assuming, somewhere in the ballpark. The other one is 1052 Via Veracruz, 19 days in the market, right? I don't think it's a 6. I think it's a 5 with optional. So it's a 5.3. It's about 3,100 square feet, as you can see. Let me make this a little bigger. As you can see here, move myself here. It's about 3,100 square feet. It was in the market for 1.5 more or less. They dropped it to 1,450, and it's an escrow 90 days. I think I looked at it before. Like I said, it was kind of, to me, heavy kind of look. I'm not sure what it's going to sell for. It's probably going to below. It just seems like this, the kitchen's still what the builder kitchen, nothing was done to it. And I've always make a comment on all my sellers. Do what you can. You got to wash the windows. I mean, you got to do something to them, right? You see this gap right here on the bottom. So not great shape. I'm not going to go into it anymore. I think you get the picture. So we'll see what that's going to close that. I think it's going to be around 1.4 or less for sure. But we'll see it next month. Just follow if you want to sign up for my alerts. And if you want to give me a thumbs up and give me a like, that'd be great as well. If you want to make a comment or leave a comment that you want to see this and that, specifically, feel free to do that. I will reply to comments. Okay. The other one, let's look at close. We only had 2 closed, closed to last month. One closed at the end of last year. This was Puppy, 732 Poppy Road, 3.2 single-story house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,680 square feet, 1993. And this had some upgrades on it. I think they put a quartz counters. I believe this is the house. Let me see real quick. It was clean. So the cabinets were painted quartz. They've had some touches, did some staging. everything helped, right? It's all about psychology. It's all about feelings. That's when you buy. That's why we really try to encourage people to do what it takes to get the highest price. Also, as you can see here, they've done some updates here in the kitchen, and overall the house looks nice and clean and inviting. This looks like it's still old, so this still needs to be done, but it's very common like to do what I call the high spots and get the home on the market. But regardless of that, you see it's on the closed price on that's $1,071,000, so they got pretty much 72,000 or so back, higher on this property. Well priced, well positioned, and like I said, if you single stories have very high demand. And the last one is Wild Lilac 819, 48 days in the market, and 3.3. It's a single story as well. Give you a picture here, right? Two story. I'm sorry, that's the two-story homes there. So not as in demand as a single story. $998 was the price on it. The asking price looks like they closed at $985, and I believe there was a $5,000 concession on that as well, right? 48 days on the market. So that's all as far as Discovery Hills, Discovery Meadows go. Again, you have to be careful, right? When you're selling a house, you don't know how much money you're going to lose until you sell and you look backwards and see somebody selling for a higher price. That's why it's really important to make sure you have someone who understands buyer psychology and has the tools. Because look, let's put things aside, everything aside, right? My personality, somebody else's personality, all that stuff. As agents, we have more or less the same tools, right? MLS, box, whatever tools we have. And I always say, a lot of surgeons, let's say, have same tools, right? They go through same training, more or less, same internship, same residency, same situation. But some surgeons just do so much better than others, have better outcome. What can you connect to that? Is it talent? Probably. So a lot of times when you're hiring an agent, one of the biggest mistakes I see people do is to hire an agent based on the wrong criteria. They usually hire an agent based on what price an agent tells them. And obviously, if they want your listings, they're going to tell you a higher price, right? Because they want to tell you what you want to hear in order to get listing the promise. When you end up not having showings and end up chasing the market, because that chasing the market and having your home on the market longer than, let's say, 1 week. Remember I told you, price is affected by how long your home has been on the market. Perceived value drops drastically. So what happens is in many cases you have sellers leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table. All this could have been prevented by doing this in a way that ultimately gave you leverage to make sure that the market sees you, right, and does what it needs to do as far as bringing everybody together at the same time. So anyway, we're about 18 minutes. I really thank you for joining me. And once again, if you like the video, give me a like. If you have a comment, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to see something specific, let me know. Okay, terrific. We'll see you in March. Bye-bye.